Ikki Kurogane, known as the weakest student at Hagen Academy, finishes his usual morning training and returns to his room, only to accidentally walk in on Stella Vermillion, a princess who has just transferred to the academy, while she's half-dressed. The situation turns even more awkward when Ikki tries to even things out in a panic, leading to Stella slapping him hard. Later, Ikki is called to the director's office and forced to apologize. However, Stella angrily demands he commit harakiri as compensation. Ikki refuses, blurting out that he won't die just for seeing her in her underwear. This enrages Stella, but when Ikki awkwardly compliments her beauty, she becomes flustered. The director then drops a shocking reveal. They are now roommates. Unhappy with the arrangement, Stella challenges Ikki, and the situation escalates into a duel where the loser must obey the winner for life. Before the match, Stella reflects on her hard work, frustrated that people only see her as naturally talented, while Ikki prepares calmly. During the duel, Stella attacks fiercely, but Ikki skillfully counters by copying her techniques. Despite her overwhelming magic power, Ikki activates his trump card, It is Shura, pushing his body beyond its limits. He dodges her strongest attack and lands the final blow, winning the match before collapsing from exhaustion. While recovering, Stella learns that Ikki's low rank doesn't reflect his true strength, but rather his lack of magical ability. Realizing how hard he works, she begins to respect him. Back in their room, Stella awkwardly apologizes for misjudging him. Ikki reminds her of the duel's outcome and orders her to remain his roommate. She agrees, and the two form a mutual understanding. A silver-haired girl is seen on a train, thinking about someone she deeply loves, while hinting at the pain caused by their parents. Meanwhile, Ikki and Stella finish their intense daily 20-kilometers run. Ikki offers her water from his bottle, and Stella gets flustered at the thought of an indirect kiss, but still accepts it. During their break, Ikki happily talks about his younger sister coming to the academy. Later in class, their homeroom teacher Yuri Oriki introduces herself and explains that only students who win the selection battles will be allowed to participate in the 7-Star Sword Art Festival. She encourages everyone to try their best, but suddenly coughs up blood and collapses, shocking the entire class. At the infirmary, Ikki tells Stella that Yuri is the reason he was even able to enroll in the academy. Yuri also hints at how unfortunate things were for Ikki last year. As Ikki and Stella walk through the hallway, Stella asks about his past. Before he can explain, a girl suddenly appears and hugs him tightly, making Stella jealous. Ikki quickly runs after Stella to explain, but then the silver-haired girl appears, his sister, Shizuku. Without hesitation, Shizuku shocks everyone by kissing Ikki on the lips. Stella immediately interrupts, claiming she's Ikki's servant and even saying they sleep together, which only makes things worse. Enraged, Shizuku summons her weapon Yashigir and attacks Stella, confident in her water abilities. Stella responds by summoning her own weapon, and the two clash violently, causing a massive explosion in the hallway. Because of their fight, both of them are punished with cleaning duty. However, even after finishing, they continue arguing. During the argument, Shizuku accidentally reveals Ikki's painful past, that he was treated like he didn't even exist by his own family. After saying this, she leaves for her room, where her roommate Nagi welcomes her back. Later, Stella meets Ikki outside and directly asks him if what Shizuku said was true. Ikki finally opens up and tells her everything, how his family constantly ignored and suppressed him. He even reveals that one day, he ran away during a snowstorm, and just when he was about to collapse, his grandfather Ryoma saved him and told him not to give up. Ikki also explains that his family went as far as influencing the academy to make sure he could never become a knight. At the same time, Shizuka talks with her roommate and expresses her determination to give Ikki all the love he never received from his family. Later, in a comedic scene, Stella tries to fulfill her role as Ikki's servant. Things quickly become awkward as she gets too close while helping him bathe. Ikki becomes flustered, Stella also gets embarrassed, and the situation spirals out of control. Ikki and Stella are seen practicing together. After training, Ikki learns that Stella's next opponent is Mamatani. He tries to warn her about him, but Stella refuses help, saying real battles don't come with information about the enemy. As the bell rings, Stella nervously tries to ask Ikki out, but gets interrupted by a message from Shizuku. Ikki replies yes, which later turns out to be him agreeing to hang out with Shizuku and Nagi, while Stella forcefully invites herself along. The four students head to the mall. Ikki notices how well-dressed Shizuku is, while Stella is amazed by everything around her. Seeing Shizuku hold Ikki's hand, Stella tries to do the same, but keeps getting blocked by Shizuku. While enjoying sweets, Shizuku gets embarrassed when Ikki gently wipes cream off her face. Stella tries to get the same treatment, but fails. Meanwhile, terrorists suddenly take control of the mall. Ikki and Nagi, who are in the bathroom, sense something is wrong. When two terrorists enter and start shooting, Ikki and Nagi disappear into the shadows using Nagi's ability, Darkness Hermit, which allows him to move through shadows. They reach the security room and find the guards unconscious. Ikki contacts Kurogane, who explains that the terrorist group, Rebellion, has taken hostages and is demanding ransom, believing Blazers are a superior race. Elsewhere, Stella and Shizuku are among the hostages. Shizuku tells Stella to stay calm as she secretly prepares a plan. Suddenly, a terrorist threatens to kill a child, but Stella steps in and saves him, revealing herself. The leader, Bisho, appears and mocks his own men before turning even more cruel, using a hostage to manipulate Stella and force her into submission. Watching from above, Ikki gets furious and tries to jump in, but Nagi stops him using Shadow Bind, revealing that Shizuku is setting up a hidden water barrier. At the perfect moment, Shizuku activates her attack, creating chaos. Seizing the chance, Ikki jumps in. When Bisho tries to shoot him, Ikki instantly counters with his technique, cutting off Bisho's arm and restraining him. Stella then defeats the remaining terrorists. However, one hidden attacker takes another hostage, trying to turn things around. But before anything happens, another student arrives and takes him down instantly. That student is revealed to be Kirihara, who clearly knows Ikki. Outside them all, Stella and Shizuku both show dislike toward Kirihara, who is being praised by others. Ikki thanks him for helping, but Kirihara mocks him, calling him weak. Stella gets angry and argues back, claiming Ikki is far stronger. Kirihara just laughs and says Ikki is too scared to face him. He then tells Ikki to check his student handbook, revealing that Kirihara will be his first opponent in the selection battle. As he leaves, he once again calls Ikki the worst one. Stella enters her match against Mamatani, and before he can even land a single hit, he's completely overwhelmed by her intense flames and presence, forcing him to surrender instantly. Meanwhile, in a locker room, Shizuku and Nagi talk about how easy Stella's match was, while Stella showers nearby. Elsewhere, Ikki watches one of Kirihara's matches and imagines himself in the position of Kirihara's helpless opponent. Stella joins him, and they discuss Kirihara's ability, Area Invisibility, which allows him to attack from hidden positions. Stella shows concern, but Ikki calmly assures her that he will win. Later, while on a run, Ikki meets Nagi, who asks about his past with Kirihara. Ikki recalls his first year at Haegun Academy, explaining how his family used their influence to suppress him and how the school was looking for reasons to expel him. He remembers how Kirihara once approached him, offering a duel to prove his strength. But when Ikki refused, not wanting to risk expulsion, Kirihara attacked him anyway, repeatedly firing arrows while Ikki endured everything without fighting back. Back in the present, Ikki tells Nagi that he accepted the pain back then because he had no choice. When asked what he would do if things were still the same, Ikki says he would keep moving forward no matter what. Hearing this, Nagi remarks that Ikki has grown used to suffering and hopes he finds someone who truly understands him. The next day, Ikki registers for the selection battle and is approached by Nene Saikyo, who is impressed by his determination. She instantly closes the distance between them, showcasing her speed, and offers to train him privately. But Kurogane interrupts and drags her away. In the waiting room, Ikki tries to focus, reflecting on everything he's been through. His emotions begin to build, and before he knows it, it's time for his match. Ikki and Kirihara enter the arena. As the match begins, Kirihara immediately creates a forest and activates his Area Invisibility, firing arrows from unseen angles. Ikki struggles at first, trying to read the trajectory of the attacks, but Kirihara keeps playing with him, calling out his shots while hiding even the arrows themselves. In the stands, Stella, Shizuku, and Nagi watch anxiously. Nagi explains that Ikki can't use his full power yet because his emotions are disrupting his focus. Meanwhile, Kirihara mocks Ikki relentlessly, and soon the crowd joins in, chanting "Worst One," breaking down his confidence even more. Unable to stay silent, Stella stands up and shouts, shutting down the crowd, and encouraging Ikki to get back up and fight. At that moment, Ikki regains his composure and activates his trump card, Itashura. As Kirihara aims for a fatal shot, Ikki calmly catches the arrow mid-air, revealing that he has fully analyzed Kirihara's attacks using his perfect vision. Panicking, Kirihara unleashes everything he has, even his ultimate move, Million Rain, but it's useless. Ikki has already seen through everything. Ikki charges forward, overwhelming Kirihara completely. Just before the final strike lands, Kirihara, terrified, admits defeat. Ikki stops his blade at the last moment, showing control and restraint. The match is declared, Ikki wins. Exhausted from pushing his body beyond its limits, Ikki collapses and is taken to the infirmary. Later, he wakes up to find Stella sleeping beside him, When she wakes, she gets embarrassed, but after calming down, she gently tells Ikki to close his eyes. As he does, she leans in and kisses him on the cheek. Ikki responds by hugging her, and the two make a promise to meet again in the finals of the 7 Stars Sword Art Festival. Stella is seen training alone late at night, thinking about how she and Ikki have become lovers, but despite that, nothing has really happened between them even after 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Ikki continues dominating his matches, winning another qualification battle with ease. At school, Ikki gains even more attention as several girls ask him to teach them swordsmanship. He agrees without hesitation, which makes some of the boys jealous. Later, in their room, Stella praises Ikki for helping others improve, but when she tries to bring up something more personal between them, Ikki suddenly falls asleep before she can finish, leaving her frustrated. The next day, Ikki trains the girls by helping them improve their inner core, while Kagami mostly observes and takes notes. Their session gets interrupted by a group of jealous freshmen who challenge Ikki, but he effortlessly defeats all of them. Instead of holding a grudge, they apologize and end up joining his training, along with more students, eventually moving the session to a forest. During training, Stella tries to offer Ikki water, but Shizuku suddenly appears and gives it to him first. She then asks to train with Ikki as well, and even points out that Stella brought 2 drinks, exposing her attempt to get closer to him. Embarrassed, Stella pretends they were for herself and drinks them while quietly holding back her emotions. When Stella later asks Ikki to train her too, he hesitates, which hurts her feelings and makes her leave angrily. While walking away, Stella runs into Nagi, who gives her a game. Back in her room, Stella plays it, imagining spending time with someone who resembles Ikki, expressing her desire to grow closer to him. At that moment, Ikki enters and invites her to the pool for training, also explaining why he was hesitant. He believes Stella has already reached a level where she must grow beyond what he can teach. On the bus ride, Stella reflects on his words and realizes that Ikki sees her potential as something even greater than his own limits. Watching him sleep peacefully, she looks at him with affection, which Kagami secretly notices. At the pool, everyone begins intense lung capacity training. Stella trains separately, focusing on herself, but Kagami approaches her and cleverly gets her to admit her relationship with Ikki. Stella also admits that even though they haven't taken things further yet, she wants to. Kagami encourages her to take action herself. Later, Ikki and Stella end up alone under a fountain. At first, they argue due to misunderstandings, but soon open up about their feelings. Realizing what they both truly want, they finally close the distance and share a kiss, reaffirming their relationship. On the way back, both Ikki and Stella receive their next match notifications. They will be facing members of the student council. Meanwhile, the 2 opponents are shown preparing for their battles, excited for the upcoming fights. Ikki and Stella enter their next matches against student council members, where Rinrin uses her mock grid ability to move at incredible speeds, circling Ikki from all directions, while Saiju fights Stella by increasing the weight of his weapon with every swing. As both battles reach their peak, and defeats him with her flames, securing victory alongside Ikki. After the matches, Shizuku once again tries to get close to Ikki, even offering to take care of him overnight, which annoys Stella. Nagi then brings up Ikki's stalker, and Ikki finally admits it, shocking everyone. The stalker is revealed to be a girl, but before she can explain, she accidentally falls and is later found unconscious. At the hospital, she introduces herself as Ayase Ayatsuji, the daughter of the famous swordsman Kaido Ayatsuji. She admits she was following Ikki because she wanted help with her swordsmanship but was too shy to ask. Ikki agrees to train her, and during practice, he realizes that Ayase is holding herself back by trying to copy her father's style. He teaches her to develop her own stance, showing immediate improvement. After training, Ayase thanks Ikki and says he reminds her of her father, while Stella quietly feels a bit insecure seeing them together. Later, Stella admits this to Ikki, and he reassures her that she is the only one he truly cares about. Soon after, Stella and Ayase spar together, where Stella acknowledges her growth. Later, the 3 go out to eat, but their time is interrupted when Kurado, a powerful student from another academy, arrives. Pretending to apologize, he suddenly attacks Ikki with a bottle. Stella gets furious, but Ikki stops her, choosing not to escalate the situation. It's revealed that Kurado is a top fighter and not someone easily defeated. After he leaves, Ikki is healed by student council member Utakata. As they head home, their student IDs reveal the next match, Ikki versus Ayase. The following day, Ayase doesn't show up for training, and Nagi suspects she might try something before the match. Ikki then reveals that Ayase asked to meet him alone that night. Despite being warned that this could end their friendship, Ikki remains determined to face her and keep moving forward. Ikki meets Ayase on the roof late at night, where she asks him what he would do if he had to fight someone he could never defeat. Ikki calmly answers that he would still fight fairly no matter what, but Ace disagrees, saying that justice without results means nothing. Suddenly, she draws her device and falls backward off the roof as the fence gives way. Without hesitation, Ikki activates Shura and jumps after her, catching her midair and landing safely in the water below. After climbing out, Ikki demands to know why she did it, and Ace reveals the truth. She forced him to use Shura, so he wouldn't be able to use it in their match just hours later. Meanwhile, Stella is asleep, dreaming about Ikki, but wakes up when his exhausted body suddenly collapses on top of her, realizing something is seriously wrong. The next morning, Ikki wakes up in the hospital with Stella, Shizuku, and Nagi by his side. Before he can explain, Kurogane takes him away and questions him about the damaged school building. Ikki admits responsibility, but refuses to reveal the reason. Kurogane then tells him the truth about Aya's past. 2 years ago, her father Kaido lost everything in a duel against Kurado and has been unconscious ever since. Elsewhere, Ace is seen beside her father, remembering his words about never losing her pride as a swordsman. She recalls her humiliation at Kurado's hands and becomes determined to reach the 7-star Sword Art Festival to face him again. Back outside, Ikki and his friends discuss what to do, and Ikki decides to face Ace head-on. Soon after, both fighters enter the arena as the announcers introduce them, and the match begins. Ikki charges forward immediately, but suddenly his body is cut from multiple directions. Ace reveals her ability, Mark of the Wind, which allows her to place invisible slashes around the arena beforehand that activate when Ikki steps into range. Even though this is clearly against the rules, the officials don't notice, and Ikki continues fighting. As the battle intensifies, Ace overwhelms him with hidden attacks and enlarges his wounds using her technique, forcing him to one knee. But just as she goes for a finishing blow, Ikki blocks her strike with perfect timing. He then reveals that he already knew she would cheat and chose to accept it, believing this was the only way to truly reach her. Ikki tells Ace that her current swordsmanship has lost its purpose, as she abandoned her own style and pride. But Ace refuses to listen and continues attacking. Determined to bring her back, Ikki charges forward without using Shura, dodging all her hidden attacks. At the climax, Ikki uses his technique Shinkaru, creating an afterimage, and strikes Ace at the perfect moment. She collapses to the ground, unable to continue. As she struggles, Ikki asks her if her heart was ever truly in this fight without her pride. Finally breaking down, Ace admits he was right and surrenders. After the match, Ikki reaches out to her, offering to help her regain her strength and pride. Confused, she asks why he would go that far, and Ikki simply answers, it's because they're friends. Seeing the calluses on his hands, just like her father's, Ace takes his hand and accepts his help. Ikki decides to help Ace reclaim her father's dojo by challenging Kurado Kurashiki, the powerful swordsman known as the Sword Eater. Before the fight, Ace recalls her past. Her father Kaido, once a great swordsman, was forced to retire due to illness but continued teaching her. One stormy night, Kurado invaded their dojo and challenged Kaido. Despite being sick and heavily injured, Kaido kept fighting with pride, refusing to give up and even preparing his final technique. But his body gave out, and he collapsed, losing both the duel and the dojo. Kurado then took everything, leaving Ace devastated. In the present, Ikki, Stella, and Ace arrive at the now-ruined dojo, controlled by Kurado and his gang. Ikki challenges him directly, proving his strength by defeating his subordinates beforehand. Accepting the duel, Kurado draws his weapon Orochimaru, while Ikki readies Tetsu, and the battle begins. Kurado overwhelms Ikki with relentless attacks, not giving him time to counter. He then activates his noble art, allowing his blade to strike from multiple directions at range. Ikki struggles at first, but gradually reads through the attacks and realizes Kurado's true strength lies in his insane reflex speed, far beyond normal humans. As the fight continues, Kurado increases the intensity, launching multiple simultaneous attacks and repeatedly injuring Ikki. Despite this, Ikki begins to smile, enjoying the fight, which reminds Ace of her father's final battle. As Ace considers stopping the fight, Stella stops her, explaining that this is what true swordsmen live for. She helps Ace realize that Kaido didn't fight in despair, but with pride and joy as a warrior. Stella also notices Kurado's weakness. His technique consumes a lot of stamina. As both fighters reach their limits, Ikki asks Kurado if Kaido smiled during their fight, and Kurado confirms it, saying a true swordsman must smile in battle. With that, Ikki promises Ace he will take back the dojo. Kurado unleashes his strongest technique, making it seem like his blade has multiple heads attacking at once. But Ikki charges straight through and uses the secret technique he learned, Tenaimo. The two clash, and in the end, Kurogane drops to one knee, defeated, while Ikki remains standing. Kurogane acknowledges Ikki's strength and leaves, telling him they will settle things again at the 7 Stars Sword Art Festival. With the victory, the dojo is finally returned. Exhausted, Ikki is supported by Stella, while Ace breaks down, believing she is unworthy. But Ikki reassures her that because she preserved her father's sword style perfectly, she is the true successor. With renewed resolve, Ace restores the dojo sign. Later, it's revealed that Ace admitted to cheating in her match against Ikki, leading to her disqualification and suspension. After winning their 12th consecutive matches, Ikki and Stella head to a mountain training camp in Okudama, expecting a simple trip, while Shizuku and Nagi are left behind due to other responsibilities. Although Shizuku is clearly upset about leaving them alone together, Nagi reassures her that it won't turn into a romantic getaway. On the mountain, Stella starts feeling cold and weak, and Ikki kindly offers her his coat, showing how close they become. When they reach the lodge, they unexpectedly run into the student council, who reveal that this isn't just a vacation. They've been assigned to clean and prepare the place for upcoming representatives, dragging Ikki and Stella into the work as well. Meanwhile, Shizuku returns home to the Kurogane household, where she is summoned by her father. He claims to be proud of her achievements, but when Shizuku brings up Ikki and asks if he feels the same about him, her father avoids the question, making it clear that Ikki is still being overlooked, which frustrates her. Back on the mountain, Stella's condition worsens during a walk to the waterfall, and Ikki realizes she has a serious fever. As heavy rain begins to fall, he carries her to a nearby cabin, starts a fire, and takes care of her. Even in this vulnerable moment, Ikki holds back his feelings, choosing not to cross the line, as he wants to properly confess his love in a way he can be proud of in front of their families. Suddenly, their quiet moment is interrupted when a massive golem attacks the cabin. Ikki quickly protects Stella and destroys the creature, but it splits into multiple smaller golems that overwhelm him. Just as things look dangerous, the student council arrives to help, with Ren taking Stella to safety while the others fight back. During the battle, it's revealed that the golems are being controlled by a blazer using steel wires. Just then, a powerful girl appears and effortlessly destroys all the golems, revealing herself as Tuka Tudu, Heigan Academy's strongest knight and one of the top fighters from the previous 7 Star Sword Art Festival. Elsewhere, Shizuku receives a notification for her next match, and to her surprise, her opponent is Tuka herself. Shizuku recalls her time at the Kurogane household, where her talent made her arrogant and disgusted with both others and herself, until Ikki Kurogane confronted her despite being punished, leading her to devote herself to him, and she then heads toward the arena for her preliminary match. Meanwhile, Ikki, Stella Vermillion, and Alice Orijuin discuss her upcoming fight against Tuka Tudu, with Stella worried about Tuka's lightning abilities, though Alice explains Shizuku can control water impurities to counter electricity, easing her concern while Ikki still prioritizes her safety. Later, Stella checks on Shizuku, and Alice tells her about everyone's worries, pushing Shizuku to prove she can fight alongside Ikki. As the match begins, both fighters remain still, fully aware of the danger, and Ikki explains that Shizuku is keeping her distance to avoid Tuka's deadly Raikiri. Shizuku freezes the entire arena and launches continuous water and ice attacks, but Tuka effortlessly cuts through them and escapes every trap, even turning the icy field to her advantage, while forcing Shizuku to expend energy, creating ultra-pure water. Though the fight appears even, Ikki realizes Tuka is in control. As Shizuku continues attacking, Tuka counters everything and presses forward, overwhelming her with speed, and when Shizuku uses clones to deceive her, Tuka breaks through and reveals her use of Nukiashi, a technique that disrupts Shizuku's perception and prevents her from properly tracking movements, placing her at a major disadvantage. Despite this, Shizuku refuses to give up, heals her wounds, and resolves to move forward with everyone to the 7 Stars Sword Art Festival. She creates multiple clones and covers the arena in dense fog, allowing her to attack freely while hiding her position, using the water from her clones to continuously pressure Tuka as she moves in for a decisive strike. However, Tuka sees through the plan at the last moment and unleashes Raikiri before Shizuku can land her attack, defeating her as the fog clears and she collapses. Later, in a hospital, Shizuku asks everyone to leave, though Alice stays behind, and while Ikki waits outside, he quietly feels proud of how much stronger she has become. Inside, Alice comforts Shizuku, and she finally breaks down in tears, while elsewhere Itsuki Kurogane learns of her defeat and allows further action to be taken. Stella wins her 14th preliminary match with ease, and afterward she walks with Ikki Kurogane through the forest, reminding him of their promise to meet in the finals of the 7 Stars Sword Art Festival. In that quiet moment, the two share a kiss, unaware that a hidden cameraman captures it. Soon after, Ikki is called to meet the Academy director, who warns him about a member of the ethics committee named Akaza, suspecting he may try something underhanded, though she insists it is her responsibility to handle it. Later, Ikki and Stella Vermillion are invited to the student council room, where they meet TDE and the others. The group then visits an orphanage, where TDE is warmly welcomed by the children. As they spend time there, Ikki learns from Yudakata about TDE's past, how she grew up in a harsh environment yet never gave up on helping others, even reforming a violent child who had suffered abuse. TDE's goal is to prove that anyone, no matter their background, can rise to greatness, which makes Ikki reflect on his own source of strength. However, everything changes when a newspaper exposes the photo of Ikki and Stella kissing, turning it into a scandal. Akaza appears and forces Ikki to attend a hearing at the ethics committee, accusing him of inappropriate behavior. Ikki is taken into custody and held for further questioning, while behind the scenes, it becomes clear that this situation was deliberately orchestrated. Despite the pressure, Ikki remains calm and accepts the process. As the hearings continue, Ikki is forced to fight his selection matches under harsh conditions within the ethics committee facility, restrained and constantly monitored. Meanwhile, Stella continues winning her matches but is surrounded by rumors about their relationship, which begins to weigh heavily on her. Feeling that she might be holding Ikki back, she even considers breaking up with him, but Shizuku Kurogane angrily stops her, reminding her that Ikki is enduring all of this to protect their bond, not to abandon it. As days pass, Ikki grows increasingly exhausted from continuous battles, barely able to stand at times. During one of these moments, Yuri secretly slips him a lock of Stella's hair, giving him emotional strength to keep going. Determined, Ikki asks to meet his father, Itsuki Kurogane, and is granted the request. During their conversation, Ikki asks if winning the 7 Stars Sword Art Festival would finally earn his recognition. But Itsuki coldly responds that Ikki was never acknowledged not out of hatred, but because he believed Ikki's potential was too limited to achieve anything meaningful. This realization shatters Ikki, as he understands that his father never truly believed in him from the very beginning. After this encounter, Ikki continues fighting despite being mentally and physically pushed to his limits, losing hope in ever gaining his father's approval. Finally, he is informed that his last opponent in the preliminary rounds will be TDE, and Akaza declares that if Ikki manages to win this match in front of the public, they will drop all charges against him, setting the stage for his toughest battle yet. Inside his cell, Ikki Kurogane begins to question the value of his strength after his meeting with his father. Meanwhile, TDE speaks with the director of the orphanage she once lived in, and later meets Shizuku Kurogane to discuss Ikki's situation. Back in her room, Shizuku shares this conversation with Alice Orijuin, struggling with whether she should ask Ikki to forfeit the match. At the same time, TDE questions Yudakata Minato about whether she can truly accept this duel with pride given the circumstances, before ultimately deciding to give it her all. Outside, Stella Vermillion continues training, while Ikki remains in a weakened state. On the final day of the selection matches, a large crowd gathers as the event is broadcast live, with 6 matches set to decide the representatives for the 7 Stars Sword Art Festival, the most anticipated being Ikki versus TDE. Ikki is shown struggling to reach the school after being abandoned by Akaza, barely conscious as he recalls his grandfather's words, until Shizuku finds him and shows him the crowd cheering for him, restoring his resolve as he makes his way to the arena. As the match begins, both Ikki and TDE acknowledge each other with respect before immediately launching their strongest techniques, with TDE choosing to face him head-on rather than waiting for his exhaustion. Just before their attacks collide, Ikki unleashes an even greater technique, pushing his body to its limits as blood bursts from him, and when the dust clears, TDE collapses, making Ikki the victor. Elsewhere, Kurado hears the result and quietly walks away, while Akaza, furious at the outcome, moves to deal with Ikki personally. As Ikki struggles to stay conscious to speak with Stella, Akaza arrives at the field, only for Stella to intercept him and protect Ikki. In that moment, Ikki confesses his feelings and proposes to her live on television, and she accepts without hesitation. Back at the Kurogane household, Itsuki Kurogane speaks with Stella's father about keeping their children away from the corruption of adult affairs. Later at the academy, the 6 representatives are announced, and TDE appoints Ikki as the leader of the Team Point 12.